A new podcast that I just started. It's called the Sexy Mexy Italian Ice Network. I used to be on another podcast, and of course, we parted ways after 3 years, but I'm happy to be with this great guy now, um, Benny, uh, the Playa Scala, better known to me as Italian Ice and Everything Nice. We're going to be bringing you shows like from let's see, first show that we did, if you look at it, it'll be Sexy Mexy. I think, I'm not really sure, but it's episode 1. We talked to this guy that was in heaven. He died, went to heaven for 7 minutes or so, and he tells his whole story of what happened. What happened was he had an accident as a younger person, and what happened there is that he ended up having plain hand surgery. With that hand surgery, what happened is he, sorry about that, he ended up with anesthesia or something gone wrong. Anyway, um, what happened is that he died for 7 minutes. He went to heaven, told us, explained so much detail. And every podcast that I've seen him in, he has been verbatim for everything, which is fantastic. And then, of course, he dies for 7 minutes, comes back, and tells his story. And as you know, a lot of people were like, when they pass away and they come back, they were like, I wanted to stay, I didn't want to, leave. And that's what happens, But he was young, of course, and as you can see, God and Jesus had something different for him. So that was the first one. The second one we did was with a lady wrestler called Princess Victoria from back in the day. She wrote a book. So we talked to her and the guy that's a DDPY trainer, instructor, and of course the author of her book. And that's just episode 2. In the episode 3 that we did, we talked to the final girl, Layla, or I'm so sorry I cannot remember her name, but we got a few views out of that, and which was great because it's independent wrestlers. They're called indie wrestling, and if you have any in your local area, please go check them out because it's fun. Support your locals. If you can't come to the major ones that charge an arm and a leg for a ticket, for a seat, even up in the nosebleeds. Because I remember when I was going to wrestling, I was about 4 years old. My dad took me as a start. So what happened, I got used to it. We went like every other Tuesday back in Texas, is where I'm from. And it was called Southwest Championship Wrestling. And we had a lot of great wrestlers come through there. A lot of them were already, contracted there, and then some of them just came in fly by night, kind of get discovered, or already were famous, and they kind of like filled the seats. Well, I remember the nosebleeds were like $3, and then you had the middle general admission that was $5, and then you're not going to believe this, but no matter what seat you sat at the Coliseum, for ringside, it was just $10 a ticket. I'm not kidding you, $10 a ticket, which was fantastic. I mean, sometimes we would go, depending on who the headliners were at the time. So we would go to there and say, okay, well, we're going to go to wrestling so-and-so night. It's going to be so-and-so there. Like Scott Casey, we had Bobby Jaggers, we had Bobby Fulton, we had, of course, the horrible Tully Blanchard that I cannot stand. And we had my favorite wrestler of all time, Gino Hernandez, the handsome half-breed. But back then, when he first started out, when I knew him from Southwest Championship Wrestling, he was my first crush. I was a young kid. I was not even 10 years old yet. I remember he was called Gorgeous Gino Hernandez. And so he played the bad guy, of course, the heel. And then he kind of had to go babyface for a little bit, but he didn't really like that because he wanted to be the heel, because those are the kind of guys you love to hate. That's where you go fill the seats. So we went there, and then of course after he left, we had, I still went, even though I tried to follow him through a World Class Championship Wrestling, which was hard to get. But I think back then it was called ESPN. We could probably see the matches back then, but I know it was finally getting televised nationwide. But later on, when my favorite wrestler of all time passed away, Gino Hernandez, ESPN did show the matches from back in the day when he was a wrestler, and up until the day he died, and so forth, up until they stopped filming, up until there was no more World Class Championship Wrestling. Well, speaking of World Class Championship Wrestling and my favorite wrestler, Gino Hernandez, that is our 4th episode that we did. We talked about Gino Hernandez's death, his life, career, and death, pretty much all into one. And it's just been a passion of mine to find out what really happened to him, because I don't believe that he, himself. So I believe it was foul play, because there was so many signs there that it was foul play. For one, Gino Hernandez, of course, went with the wrong crowd in the beginning, but I know he wanted to keep making money, things like that. Because after a certain time, if you're a wrestler, that's it for you after a certain time if you're not going to invest. Or some wrestlers stay on in wrestling for a long time. But I think he wanted just to be rich, as fast as he could and stay that way, live his lifestyle. And I know he got mixed up with some wrong people. And the thing with that, though, is I don't blame him for that. I mean, I would want to have money too, but I'll try to find a different way. But my thing is that there was so many warning signs before he died. First of all, he would go to the promoter back then at World Class Championship Wrestling, the good for nothing David Manning, and he told him, "Hey, guys, somebody's trying to hurt me, me, because I feel like they're following me, or I even saw somebody in my back seat." And David Manning kept putting it off, saying, "Oh, you're not, you're just delusional, putting it off." And because Gino wanted to get a pew, gun. And the thing is with that, I feel in my heart that if that ass, the jerk, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, David Manning would have listened to Gino, I think Gino would still be here. Because there's just too many warning signs. And then when he didn't show up for a promotional match, of course 2 people went to go check up on him, and his door wasn't locked. And that's not like him. Gino Hernandez always locked his deadbolt door. Always locked it. Even though he might have been paranoid inside. But that's fine. That night, they found, I guess the next morning, they saw that it was not locked. So they just walked right on in. And so when they walked right on in, they called for him, and of course nothing. So they finally went upstairs, and they found his body face down with a gun to his left side. And what bothers me is that he's right-handed, not left-handed, okay? And he'd already been, from what I found out, he'd already been there for days. And it was already his 40th year that he passed already. This year, 2026, is his 40th year that he passed. Now, they did an autopsy, things like that, but there was not really an investigation because, first of all, there was red Marlboro cigarettes on top of his dresser. Gino did not smoke whatsoever. That's what of course, also the autopsy determined that. He was never a smoker. He did not like being around people that smoked, especially women. He would not allow anyone to smoke in his home to begin with. Those cigarettes were never tested for fingerprints. And again, the gun to the left side. Gino was right-handed. Okay? The gun wasn't tested to see if it had gone off or if he had any fingerprints on it. Gino's nails weren't tested to see if they had any gun residue or anything on it. Um, he had a lot of illegal substance in his stomach, enough to, I guess, for I don't know how many they said, but it was just too much. Like if he was, to me, like he was forced to ingest it because it, they did the autopsy and his nose, his nostrils were perfect. There was no holes or anything like that. There was no sign that he had used, and that's another sign. And then the autopsy said that he was an obese Mexican male. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but he's Italian. He was not obese. And it also said that he wasn't circumcised. Well, Gino's mom and the former wife said yes, he was circumcised. So there's proof right there that somebody, put the wrong results. And I don't understand why the police have not questioned that. 40 years later, I still would question that because I would want to know what happened to my father of my child or children, or my son, or me being a fan. Of course, I would want to know what happened. And anyone that's a fan would like to know what happened. And I think that when we did the podcast, we really didn't do a lot. We didn't really get to, dive into quite a bit. But I think that if we still could try to investigate it, try to find some more information, maybe. Because I think there's still a big story there. And there's also another thing. He came from this show that was on. It was the first episode, of course, he was on. I'm not going to give it an advertisement, but this show gave a lot of misinformation, except for this one person who was involved with him was John Royale. And all of a sudden, John Royale comes to the mom's house, Gino's mom's, and says, he owed me money. I'm like, okay, so what? He owed you money. I'm not going to pay you for that. He's the one that owed you. You should have asked him for it. Because why would we be responsible for somebody else's mistake? I had that happen to me one time with somebody, and they're like, well, so-and-so owes me money. I'm like, so? They go, well, you got this nice car there. I said, so what? Just because I got the car there doesn't mean you're going to get it. Just because that person owes you money. If that person owes you money, then you go ask for that money from that person. You're not going to come take my car just because that person owes you money. Are you stupid? And so what happened is also, I'm so sorry for this loud music. I'm trying to get my son to turn it down, but I apologize. And I told him, I said, why would you want to take that car? And like, as far as like Gino's mom, let me get back to that. I apologize. Gino's mom had something hidden of Gino's at the house because he came by to, I think it was the day before Thanksgiving, and to bring a box or something in there, and I guess he found it or something, and all of a sudden John Royale pays for Gino's funeral, and all these people that nobody knew, they're like, who is this? Who's this? Who's it? Why are they all dressed like that? Came to the funeral that John Royale paid for. And then at the end, they all toasted champagne, and they broke the champagne glasses on the casket. And the mom's like, I'm trying to grieve here. There's family here trying to grieve. What the heck are you doing? I don't think that was right anyway. But that's just me, right? Hopefully there's a lot of other people that feel that way. And so that's what I'm trying to get across. There's so many stories out there, so many podcasts about him, and a lot of fan groups out here. There's been stories here. There's been stories on Facebook. There's been stories on Instagram and TikTok. Just so many things. And we just want to get the truth out there. So that's the last one that we've done as far as the podcast. As you see, there's so much that we can't cover in an hour. So the next episode that we do, we're not really sure what we're going to do, but I know that we're going to have some upcoming authors come on. Howard, what was it? I don't remember if it's, oh yes, it's Danny Emer. He is a book writer of a certain book. I can't say the name of the book, but I guess the acronym is SATAN project or something like that. It's just an acronym. It's just not that. So, oh no, I'm sorry. It's the SATAN gene. Okay, it's an acronym. So, and then he wrote an exercise book, so we're going to get him on there. And then horror author Alistair Cross has written his seventh book of the what is it called? I can't remember. It's the Crimson Cove. It's seventh book of that. So we're gonna get him on hopefully soon. And I would get it, but it's right here. It's like very very thick. It's like this thick. His books are at least 500 something pages, but you just get so withdrawn in the books that you just want to keep reading. That I read so fast. One of them I went through withdrawal because I couldn't wait for him to finish the next one after that. And so I'm taking my time reading this one too, so that way when the one comes out next month, I'll be done with this one. So it's pretty much a series of what everything's gone on, you know. So it they're fabulous books, and he's also written other stories, like Sleep Savannah Sleep is another one that I'm fixing to read as well. And he also wrote a lot of books with Tamara Thorne. You'll probably see him as Thorne and Cross. I may have her on that same day as well, or just give him his alone time to promote his stuff, his book, his new book, talk about that. And then we'll eventually have Tamara Thorne and him together. So hopefully we'll get that. And what we want to do is a variety of shows. We don't want to just stick to one subject, because I know that there's shows that, you know, they do all of this, all of that, you know, like for example, all the NFL, they'll talk about their team, like the New England Patriots, or there'll be one of Tom Brady, or there'll be one of basketball, you know, things like that. I want to do variety because I want to bring you guys something that's never been done or has been done, but in a better style where it's more relaxed, more comfortable, and less stressful to anyone. And we may have guests or we may not have guests. It'll just be him and me and the Italian Ice talking together. So you never know. And that's what I wanted to do. And I thank you guys for all the viewerships, all the wonderful comments that y'all have given us on every podcast. I thank each and every one of you that are following me, subscribing to me. I really appreciate that. And know that if you subscribe to me, I will subscribe to you. Which I am almost, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm catching up with everybody that subscribed to me. Make sure that I am subscribing back to your guys' channel as well. Because that's what I want to do. You support me, I support you, we support each other. And that's what we got to do in this world. We got to support each other. We don't need to be on one side for this or one side for that, you know? Just because we have differences doesn't mean that we should not get along. Because that's the worst thing. Because they say that's two things you shouldn't talk to people about is politics and religion. And that's not what we're going to do here. I'm not going to preach to you. I'm not going to talk to you about politics, nothing like that. Because that deserves your own personal, you know, beliefs. Whatever religion you are, or if you don't have a religion, or you are not religious at all, that's great. That's your decision. Or if you're political, if you follow, if you don't follow, that's great too. I don't watch the news that often because of that fact. And I just, you know, I'm just, there's either fake news, or if it's real news, or they are told what to tell us, which is the lie. Because people believe a lie more than they believe the truth. And that's just not me. I gonna tell you something, I'm gonna tell you right to your face, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm not gonna lie to you. And that's how I am. I've gone through too much already to not to tell myself, you know what, it's time for me to be me again. I was married for 32 years to this one man. We had 2 children together, which are now in their 30s. And of course, he had a child with him. Well, we got together. He was raising from another marriage, so I raised him as well. And at the age of 30, I can't remember if 32, it just recently, he passed away 8 years ago. It was a horrible truck accident. It was a pickup truck accident in Texas. And a good thing about it, his death though, is that he was an organ donor. so he was able to give life, continue life to other people. And that I am very proud of him for. As far as my marriage, there was a lot that happened. I'm a widow. My husband passed away a year and 4 months ago. A year and 4 months already. And it's been difficult. It's been hard going from two incomes to one. Here in the state of Florida, it's very expensive. But we got to do what we got to do, you know. And him and I went through so much good and bad. More bad than good, I think, because I don't know. Sometimes I try to remember the good times, but the bad times kept flooding in more, and I don't know why. But my two children that I love so much that we had together, my son and daughter, are fantastic. They've kept me together, and I've kept them together. And my daughter just had a baby girl. It was a year ago now, herself too. And so with that, she just turned a year, and she's amazing. She's about to learn to walk soon. I can't wait. She's got her own personality. She is just the sweetest thing in the world. That in my heart, I don't think I would have made it without her. Knowing that she was coming, which my husband did. He knew that our daughter was going to have a baby. He knew the sex of the baby. There's a girl, and he knew that the due date and the name that they were going to name her. And he got to see our daughter's little baby bump, which was good. I think that was a good thing. At least he knew. And sadly is that she's not going to get to know him, because he was a great man. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything. But, when you have your bad things, good days, things like that. And he had been waiting for 2 years for a hip replacement that his doctor kept putting off. I don't understand why. And I blame the doctors for that. You had the time, you had all the tests done that you needed. Why did you keep putting it off? That's not fair. I tell you what, the medical here in Florida sucks. If you're sick, I am so sorry. Don't get sick here in Florida. Don't. Because it's horrible. I've had people from all kinds of states tell me that. And I agree, because I'm from Texas, and I had the best insurance there, the best medical coverage. So, and coming here, I'm like, this is horrible. I mean, even the deductibles are freaking high. I mean, very high. It's horrible. And people are having a hard time, struggling to have insurance these days. If not, their medical bills are up in, the roof. Or even if you still have insurance, it's ridiculous. And the medications, oh my gosh, don't get me started on that. My mom's having to have a test done, because she's recovering she's a cancer survivor twice. Thank you. And I am so happy about that. But she still has to have CT scans, MRIs, things like that, so many months a year. And one of the tests her copay is like $275 just to have the one test done with her insurance. And I don't understand why it's so much. And some of the medications are outrageously priced. I mean, you go to these recognized, pharmacies, you can find coupons, things like that. But some of these mom and pop pharmacies, forget that. Because if a medication costs you $100-something with them, you go to a well-known pharmacy in town, you can find coupons that it might even just cost you $20, $5, $30. So you see what a freaking markup that is? That's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous anyway. But it's just me, I guess. But I just wanted to come on here, tell you guys thank you so much for everything. This is my first time going live, so I appreciate all of you that have subscribed to me so I can go live and do this. I was very, very nervous to do this, because I don't really go live often, especially like on TikTok, because the people can be so cruel and mean. And so I just didn't know how to do it. So I said, you know what? Let me try to see if I can get enough subscribers to go live on YouTube and see how it goes for the first round. And it took a while to get here, but I'm here with you guys. I'm so happier now with this new podcast that I'm doing. You don't know the weight that has been lifted off my shoulder. Oh my gosh, it's so better than ever. And getting to talk to you guys, seeing your comments when we have our podcast, it's amazing. And I thank you all for that. I really do. I know I probably said that earlier, but I just want to reiterate that. And sadly, we did lose a lot of people lately. We had Hayden Van Terry died. Let's see, we had Dolly Parton die. Shelley Fabares died. We had so many people that passed away recently. And the guy that was the first It clown guy, I can't think of his name from the top of my head. I am so sorry. But it's like it's probably because I don't like clowns. I'm scared of clowns. So maybe that's why I can't think of his name right now. Terry somebody. This is Terry something. But and then I think we've had a total of what, 7 people die so far, 8 celebrities. I mean, this is horrible. You know, I remember Dolly Parton growing up. She was a music icon, a music legend. When I worked in Knoxville, Tennessee, it's close to Pigeon Forge, which there's Dollywood. Well, the company that I worked for used to take us to Dollywood once a year. They paid for our tickets and our meals, and we could just ride any ride that we wanted. And of course, see all the people that were selling stuff there that were handcrafted, because that's what she liked. She liked people to go to her place, Dollywood, and they can set up, but they have to have certain approval. You have to go through certain things to be able to get approved to be there. And you can sell things there, but they have to be handcrafted, handmade. It can't just be store bought and say, okay, here you go. This is so and so. She didn't like that. She liked people to come in that would make handmade things to sell. And there was just so many things to see there. And the train ride was one of my favorites. And the kids, when they were little, they had a blast. And working at Talbot's call center, that was pretty cool. And we had one in Knoxville, and then we had one, I think, in Massachusetts. And I had a lady call from Massachusetts and says, oh, I'm sorry, I think I got the Massachusetts one. I said, Massachusetts what, ma'am? She goes, the call center. I said, no, you got the Tennessee call center. She says, where's your accent? I'm like, I don't have an accent, but she had me talk with a southern drawl. I kid you not, the whole time of a phone call. She goes, thank you so much for doing that. She goes, I just love your accents. And I'm like, okay, but I don't have one, but I did it for you. And I guess my manager was listening to calls at the time. She comes around the corner, around to from her desk to me. She was just bawling and laughing. She goes, I cannot believe you did that. I said, hey, anything to please the customer. We give them what they want. As far as that, or we try to sell extra items. She goes, exactly. So I got a great call for that one, and we did a lot of training for that too. And I was like, you got to give the customers what they want. Make them happy. If they're sad or upset, make sure at the end of the call they're laughing. And that's how I am. In the job that I have now, I've been there for 2 years. I had to leave this other one that I had because I wasn't too happy. But this one that I have here are the best ones ever because they are. I am so sorry for my dogs barking. I don't know what I've done without them. Because when my husband died, they were all there for me. They go, we're not just co-workers, we're family here. And I tell you what, my bosses have been amazing. They're great. They give us a lot of work to do, which is fantastic. I like to keep busy. And, I'm a team player, just like everybody else. Except for one person that's not. But we can get into that another time. I think we'll probably do a podcast about that. Because, you don't just because you're a young person, you don't mouth off to your elders when they're asking you to do something. And if you do that, that's a big no-no. You know, you're not a team player. You just want to do whatever you want. That's not right. And you're gonna talk down to me? No, I'm a lot older than you, and you're not gonna talk down to me. And it's just been crazy the past month there, but we're hoping to hire some more people where I work. Um, I just, you know, I wish we could find somebody that could work or would want to work. And this is a fantastic job. I'm so happy here. I thought I was going to be happy at this other place that I was there for 4.5 years, in another call center at a medical place. It was a clinic. I'd schedule appointments for people, whether it be for dental, family, pediatrics, behavioral health, at the time, women's. Uh, and I think my favorite part was the behavioral health because I got to help people. I got to talk to people. They said that I have such a soft, calming voice that on the phone that they could just talk to me about anything. And I'm like, oh, well, that's so sweet. Thank you for telling me that. And so what we did is they put me more for behavioral health because I think they could monitor the calls, which goes to what. And I feel like I helped a lot of people, and I still want to help a lot of people. And maybe through here I can help you guys because there's certain things that maybe that I've gone through that you've gone through that you can relate. So I'm hoping to do that, and with y'all's help, make this grow. And I appreciate it, everything. So I'm gonna get off here now, and I want to thank you guys for listening to me, listening to me talk. I can't even get the words out, can I? And hopefully I will be on live again soon. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me here at Sexy Mexi Italian Ice Network. And I'll be happy to answer any questions, or let me know if you have any show ideas. Because as you know, the shows that we did already, sorry about that. I don't know, he's playing with the dogs. Um, Let me know, and I'll be more than happy to go over that with Benny and see what shows we can come up with. I thank you guys so much, and you guys have a wonderful evening.